Wait till the camera start up. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing as well. Well, I'm gonna show you something that's very controversial. Um, and and I'm gonna start out with the N word, and I'm gonna kind of make my commentary afterward. Start with video number 9 from accountability.
Seagulls. The eagles of the sea.
The best way to book your stay in the USA. Booking.com, booking.
Yeah.
Shout out to black men. I'm starting to see y'all in the comment section of these other content creators telling them, hey, stop using the N-word so much. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. I remember a while ago, I was telling y'all, hey, listen, stop using the N-word. It sounds ridiculous. These guys are like 40, 50 years old using the N-word. It shows that they have a limited vocabulary. Their diction is limited. It's not a good look at all. I can accept it more from a teenager, even though I would check a teenager. Hey, listen, stop using that word. You sound ridiculous. But y'all got so used to listening to these content creators say the N-word over and over and over. It didn't register to y'all that this is buffoonery at its highest level. It didn't register to y'all. And the reason why it didn't register to y'all is because you didn't care. A lot of y'all didn't care. A lot of y'all probably was like, well, it's not me using the N-word, so what? A lot of y'all probably do use the N-word. I seen a lot of y'all in my comment section, in my live, when I do a live, saying that you're working on not using it. You know, I've seen a lot of brothers saying, you know, ever since they've been listening to me, they stopped using the N-word as they used to use it all the time. A lot of brothers are working on it. Shout out to y'all if you're working on it. But you sound insane. You can't talk around. Listen, you can't talk about Pookies and have no regard for Pookies when you use their language. That's Pookie language. I need you to understand that's Pookie language. N-word, 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 N-word. Come on. That is Pookie language. And I'm glad that a lot of brothers is starting to look at it and say, hey, this ain't cool. Now when you over there on those channels, now when you hear it, it's irritating to you. It's irritating now to you. It irritates you now. Because I forced you to actually analyze what you're listening to and how crazy it sounds as 40-something, 50-something-year-old men constantly using the N-word. Why? You don't have to relate to me. That's what they use. Oh, it's to relate. No. Only people who relate to that are Pookies. It's a Pookie lifestyle. It's a Pookie language. I don't care what anybody said. It's a Pookie language. Using profanity all the time is a Pookie language. The B word, A word, N word, F word. That's why you don't hear me use it. You don't hear me using profanity. You don't. Go through my videos. You don't hear me using it. because it sounds foolish. All these words in the dictionary, and these are the ones that you're constantly using. So many words in the dictionary. So many words, and these words are the ones that you're constantly using. It shows where you at mentally. It really does. You can't hang with no heavyweights when you're constantly using this type of language. You can't hang with nobody mentally. You can't even talk about Keisha if this is your language all the time. N-word, F-word, P-word. Grown men don't use that language. They don't. Yeah, you can look at it and be like, AC, you know, sometimes we just, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. That's also Keisha's language. It's not just Pookie language, it's Keisha language. Y'all remember that video I did about that ex correctional officer, ex Keisha correctional officer? Where she described, her dealings in there, what she was doing in there. We was just basically talking about why Keisha has become correctional officers. Every sentence, all you heard was profanity, line after line after line. And a lot of y'all pointed it out. Yeah, it's disgusting. But you gotta feel the same way when you hear these content creators use it. All the time. It shows you where they at. And if people who listen to that, and people who don't mind it, don't see anything wrong with it, you don't belong over here. I'm sorry, you don't belong over here. Over here is productive black men. And productive black men just don't use that language. Why? Because it's Keisha language and it's Pookie language. And the reason why I'm doing this video, because I'm starting to see a lot of brothers on these content creators comment section saying, hey, cut out the N-word. You sound crazy. And I want to say salute to y'all. Salute to y'all. Shout out to black men.
I couldn't agree much more. I'm glad that he's the one of the few that spoke out on that, because you make an impact not here but around the world. And that's true what he was saying. You don't know, and then when you see other people doing it and mimicking it in Africa or whatever, like Go Black did, he had to put them in check.
Why is it your business?
It's my home.
Okay, mine too. Why are you taking pictures of me? I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan Lights?
Yeah, why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had problems here.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware of that?
I'm a racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So
what's your
issue?
point? Why are you here?
Because this is a no zone.
Not really.
Oh, is it?
Not really.
Tell me.
There's not a not so I'm here.
He used the
And what I'm
N-word.
about to do,
But you don't live here.
I do. I stay here. What I'm about to do,
Yeah.
me and my friend, we're about to record our videos.
Okay.
And you're not going to do a motherfucking thing about it, y'all hear me?
That's fine. Let me,
You're not
I'll tell
going
you
to do
what.
a motherfucking thing. I don't want to hear you say nothing.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though.
You're just not going to do another thing. So,
What?
as y'all see, you can't keep the camera.
Stop
Yeah.
me from doing things.
It doesn't mean I'm about to record my video.
Okay.
You're not going to do anything.
Okay.
And let you try to touch me. Let you try to touch. No.
Oh, I wouldn't touch it.
You already disrespected me. Can you step back a little bit? I feel like you're harming.
We are 6 feet.
Yeah, no. I need you to step back. So, don't listen to what I'm saying. I'm gonna lay your down. It's okay. I'm gonna lay you down. I'm gonna lay you down. Yeah. So, just stay where you at. You ain't man enough. That's okay. You don't gotta think I'm man enough, my baby. Yeah, just keep it walking. And it's gonna be like that today, y'all. I hope y'all seen all of that. I am a famous YouTuber. This is actually his establishment. So anybody, y'all all know I just moved to Arizona, and this is his friend as well. So anybody that come to this establishment, y'all know what it is. Y'all know exactly what his establishment is, and y'all know where he works. And it's okay. Hey, we got money, and we doing well. Man, so
He used the N-word. This is no N-word zone. That's what that man said to him. That's why he bleeped it out. But I'm about to show you something that why some people think the way they do. And you're going to be shocked with these couple videos I'm about to show you. The first one, a couple is from Dr. Phil's show.
My dad has called my son a critter, a monster, a creature. He told me I was growing an ape inside of my body. My dad refuses to accept my son because he is half black. I can't expect him to change, but he doesn't have to treat my son like he's an animal. My dad has never met my son. I want him to acknowledge that he has a grandchild. Looking back, I didn't have a normal childhood. My father was part of the White Knights. It's the most violent, hateful part of the Klan. He'd say white power, hail Hitler, he'd throw his Nazi symbols up, and I didn't understand. My dad believes that the white man is a superior race. He just loves that he's a terrorist. He thinks it's great. My dad would give any man the shirt off of his back. It would just have to be a white man. My dad went to prison. They said he was making bombs to blow up abortion clinics. He found out I was pregnant with a biracial baby and told me to abort. The worst thing he did to me was turn his back on me and my child. I felt abandoned. I felt so alone, and I just cried. I'm just let down by him, really.
Well, in 2003, Peyton's father, David, was sentenced to 12 years in prison for several crimes, including possession, manufacture, transferring, and demonstrating an explosive device, tampering with a witness, possession of a silencer, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He served 9 years. When he was released, he was shocked to find that Peyton, in his words, had betrayed him.
I'm willing to die for the Klan. People use the term racist like it's some kind of dirty word. I think we should reject the term white because it just is a color. It is not a race. Aryan. Potential of being a future rapist, a thief, and just another lazy dredge on society. One drop of non-white blood and it ceases to be human, and since it's not human, it is not my grandchild. This thing here is not a mistake that just goes away. She had a kid to a black man. I will love my daughter till the day I die, but I will never accept that child.
That obviously is hurtful to hear, right? Yeah. Do you try to reason with him about it?
He's not easy to reason with. He has a reason for everything.
He cites scripture.
Yes.
He cites philosophy. He believes he is 100% right.
Yes.
And, growing up, you were a daddy's girl, right?
Yes.
You loved him. He was a good father to you.
Yes.
But you started seeing unusual things in your childhood, right?
Yes.
You have early memories of actually seeing burning crosses.
Yes. All I knew of the cross burnings was to be I just thought it was pretty, you know, like a big candle or something. I didn't understand the
Symbolism.
symbolism, yeah.
You didn't know what it meant. And there was a picture of Hitler hanging over you.
On our fireplace mantle.
Did you know who it was?
My dad talked really greatly about Hitler, so I just thought maybe he was like another president.
So you, as a child, you don't know. It's just a picture of someone that's revered.
Yes.
Well, David is on probation, and he's not allowed to travel. And so he's going to join us by satellite. David, you understand that Peyton is here because she is frustrated, that you are frustrated, that she has a biracial child. And she is in hopes that you guys can find some way to close the gap on that and not have that be a divide between the two of you.
I love my daughter. I love my daughter with all my heart. But the thing is, I cannot go against my moral and religious beliefs and accept her child. Peyton will always be my daughter. I would do anything for her. I would die for her. I would kill for her.
Building and protecting wealth is more daunting than ever. Amid global market volatility,
You're so big about family and protecting family, but you're the one that's choosing to divide it.
Whose fault is it?
It's yours.
It's not my fault.
The hell it isn't.
The hell it is.
That's right. You said that you don't have any objection to Benny's character. You don't know whether he's the best husband in the world, the worst husband in the world. You don't know if he's the most loving, devoted, caring, giving husband and father. That doesn't matter to you. Your objection, even if all of that were true, you would still say, you need to end this right now because he's Mexican. And what is it about the Mexican race that would override all of that in your view?
I'm not saying anything about the Mexican race. As far as that goes, I'm not downgrading them. They can't help it because they're Mexican. I can't help it because I'm white. Someone can't help it because they're black. That's the way it is. And I still said that you should stay within your race and there won't be no problems.
So you feel guilty that you've been a divisive force in this family. You cannot possibly own this problem. Because are you a good husband?
Yeah, I hope so.
Is he a good husband?
Very good.
You can front him out right now if you want to.
Yeah, he's very good.
All right. We can forget about Bryant here and just do that. But no, he's a good husband, right? And he's a good father.
Very good father.
And he's a hard worker, good provider.
Very good provider.
You guys get along well?
Yes.
And you're doing everything that any wife would want a husband to do, right? Do you agree with that? Okay.
he's a good son-in-law.
Yeah. So you got your mother-in-law even saying that. You can't possibly own any guilt over the fact that this man chooses to ignore all of those elements and liken you to a mule. And you have to understand, you see that for what it is, right? That's irrational.
It's ignorance.
Yeah. And you have to let him own that. Because he's not motivated to change it, doesn't want to change it, believes that he is absolutely right, and is willing to hurt or impact all these other relationships in order to embrace that view. Do you second guess your decision to marry Benny?
No.
Do you think there's any reason that you have violated some grand moral principle here or done something wrong?
No, we are all the human race.
And this is purely race, but you say you're not a racist.
That's the way I feel about it.
Okay, but aren't you just playing semantics here? Aren't you just playing word games when you say,
I don't care what kind of man he is. I don't care what he does. I don't care how he treats her. I don't care anything about it. The fact that he is a Mexican and is married to this woman, I don't want to be in the room with him. How is that not racist? I mean, if you're going to do it, own it. You're all about standing up telling everybody, by God, what you're going to do. Why don't you own that? I mean, you're saying it's purely race. How is that not racist?
I have no idea.
Is there a possibility that you're wrong?
Sure, there's always a possibility of everything.
Is there a possibility
I
that
tell
it
you one
being...
thing, there's no possibility of this coming to a head, reconciling.
Yeah, well, I'm convinced that you're more interested in being right than you are happy. But, because you could be... What I hate is that you're missing out on the relationship with people that are your family. I mean, you're so big about family and protecting family, but you're the one that's choosing to divide it.
Whose fault is it?
It's yours.
It's not my fault.
The hell it isn't.
The hell it is.
Who has withdrawn themselves from the family?
Who caused the withdrawal?
You did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I didn't. I'm not the one that married out of my race.
Did she tell you not to come to her house, or did she send you a letter and say you are welcome in my home? And did you not respond and say, take that welcome mat up because I ain't ever coming back?
Probably did.
Heavy, huh? Well, guess what? Now that's the extreme point of view. And I'm going to turn this down because I don't want to get... I'm going to show you the video without playing the music. But the reason why some people are prejudiced and they don't want interracial relationship, when it comes to a black man, I'm about to show you. This is a video, I can't play the song, but you probably recognize the artist. It's a young man in the bed. It's a short video. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so that's wrong. But you see why now, even though it's doing the video, they're showing this in the video. So this goes worldwide, right? People of all walks of life looking at this. So when they're making a video about this, this is true life. And they see young men doing this, Latino men, black men doing this. That gives them the mindset, what they do. You call each other the N-word, that's what they see you. It's not the N-word as in cool, it's the N-word as in, like that man described me like an animal. When they do this, when they see that, that's the reason why this reason why they see you. This is why they see you if you're a young black man. So the TV shows them this. Even though this is a song, but this is what they see. So for that when they see that, you have people like this. It was a cop.
Hope is going to say some outrageous things. Mark Lamont Hill is going to call him out on it. It's going to get a little loud, and afterwards, I am going to give you the actual facts and figures to show you this right here. Let's put it.
And this thing about the disparity of blacks and whites in jails, that's got to stop, because I got statistics right here which will prove me right. In New York City alone, okay, blacks are 23%,
They make up 75% right, of the population, 75% of all shootings, 70% of all robberies, and 60% of all violent crimes. All right? The whites, only 3%. Now, that is why there were more blacks in jail than there are whites. Okay? And now let me just finish here. And then,
I don't agree with that.
So we look at that statistic, all right, and they turn it around. You know, the racial demagogues out there turn it around that the blacks are being picked on.
Guys, how are you still on national TV and said that black people are prone to criminality? I wouldn't even respond to that. Okay.
Well, they are.
But you think black people are prone to criminality?
The statistics here show it.
You don't mean to say that. I'm gonna give you a chance to correct me. You don't mean that black people are prone to criminality.
What does this say?
I don't know what that says, but I know.
The chief can back me up because he's come right out of
He's not going to stay on national TV and say black people are prone to criminality.
I am telling you, 75% of shootings are black.
I'm hoping you just don't know.
75% of shootings. You're interpreting something else I'm saying. Your narrative. That's what you do.
I'm just Mark, hold on one second. I think you just don't know.
First of all, I'm not going to talk to blacks prone to crime because I don't believe it. It's not true. That's the first. Not true. The second thing, I have a slight difference in
Just say that black people are prone to criminality.
That's what I said.
No, that is what you said. Are you saying? Come on, Hill asked him. Are you saying black people are prone to criminality? He said, yes, of course. Okay, I mean, go rewind. Get the exact wording. Hey, it's on tape. We just showed it to you. All right, so, all right. Now, he threw out a series of stats. By the way, Harry Hook's a former NYPD detective. God help us all. These are the cops that are all looking at all of this. Well, the black people are arrested. Okay. Well, now, I had a former Baltimore cop on, the Young Turks, Michael A. Wood Jr., who explained, yeah, part of the reason for that is we only go and arrest people in black neighborhoods. Because we're afraid that if we arrest people in the rich white neighborhoods, we're going to get in trouble. And we don't want to hit a judge's son. We don't want to hit someone powerful. So you go pick on the powerless. Okay, they don't give you that context, but I'm going to give you all of the context because I'm going to give you the numbers. So the Washington Post. Black Americans are 2.5 times as likely as white Americans to be shot and killed by police officers. Okay? So that's unarmed black Americans were 5 times as likely as unarmed white Americans to be shot and killed by a police officer. So now they're both unarmed. In that for that study, they're looking at just the people who were shot by cops who were unarmed. Black people were 5 times as likely to be shot, even though they were unarmed. Okay. So now they'll say, oh yeah, blacks are prone to criminality, that's why we had to shoot them. But in that case, they were unarmed. There was no criminality, and I've got more context on that issue as well. Of all the unarmed people shot and killed by police in 2015, 40% of them were black men, even though black men make up just 6% of the nation's population. Okay. According to now, you always talk about black on black crime. Let's talk about that. According to FBI numbers from 2014, about 90% of black homicide victims were killed by other black people. The white-on-white murder rate that same year, homicides in which a white person was killed by another white person, was 82% of all murders of white people. Yet you almost never hear white-on-white crime, and you certainly don't hear right-wingers on cable news talking about, hey man, we got to fix white culture. White people are constantly killing other white people. What is wrong with them? Where are their fathers? You don't hear that often. Okay, a report released last week by the Center for Policing Equity, which reviewed arrest and use of force of data from 12 police departments, included that black residents were more often targeted for use of police force than white residents, even when adjusting for whether the person was a violent criminal. So they adjust to see, wait, look, this guy's saying blacks are violent criminals. They already adjusted for that, and it turns out even in cases where whites and blacks are equivalently criminal or violent, or equivalently non-criminal and non-violent, guess who gets attacked? Black. So this is based on the data from 12 police departments. So it's not our opinion. These are facts from police departments. Okay. In a report covering 2015 data, this is a whole other group. These are all separate groups, all investigating it, all coming up with these answers. Campaign Zero compared violent crime rates of 50 major cities to the rate at which police officers kill people, concluding that there was no correlation.
My company will literally work with you until you land your first client.
Stop it right there. Now I'm going to show you something really, really peculiar. How they project black people. Show you this video. Sorry, wrong video.
started collecting racist objects when I was a teenager, and the stuff was everywhere. At a certain point, I ended up with thousands of pieces. I didn't know what I would do with it. I just thought a lot about what it meant to be a person of color living during Jim Crow. Had no intention of creating a museum, but the collection kept growing. So in the 1990s, I gave my collection to the university. It took 15 years, but in 2012, we opened this museum. I have lots of respect for museums that celebrate African American history, that celebrate African American accomplishment, but that's not what this facility was. I wanted to create an actual racism facility, to have people focused on this specific topic in terms of our history. So if you just have a society with millions of just postcards like this, does that reinforce certain ideas about black people and white people? Some of the best discussions we have in the museum are about the word nigger, which sounds kind of weird, by the way, because I'm a sociologist and we don't believe words have any inherent meaning. They're just sound signs that we give. But we do believe that people, once the meanings are given, that they are shared. I mean, no piece is inherently racist. It's a racist society which will create racist objects and will racialize other objects. That's why the watermelon it has a racial. There's nothing inherent about a watermelon that makes it racist. But you know darn well that it's been racialized. Someone looking at Aunt Jemima objects or other mammy images, they don't think of that as offensive. They think of good times spent with their families. It's very nostalgic. Someone else looking at those same pieces, they see the vestiges of slavery and segregation. So often we're not deciding that something is racist, but what we are doing are collecting pieces that help us talk about racism. We have lots of friends at the museum, and we receive hundreds of pieces a year. The first director of the museum, he said to me one day, hey, there's a couple guys I want you to meet.
Here we go. Here's some Jim Crow related materials. These are the dolls. And some of them are older, some are newer.
These are like 1950s.
This is
male and female.
Yeah, those are really interesting.
Yeah. Our group of friends were all collecting this because we realized what it said about our society and what it said about where we were in the past and where maybe we still were. When we met David Pilgrim and the whole Jim Crow Museum and all of that, it was like, finally, there's a place where we can put this.
A sense of relief that we could let go of these objects so other people could learn from it.
We have some understanding of bigotry. We have some understanding of being the outsider or not being accepted or being told that we are not welcomed, we can't be accepted, you have no place here. I think because we've experienced that in our own lives, because we're gay, there's a little transference there to trying to help understand the even bigger question of bigotry and then likewise racism. Wow, this is really racist. This is an ashtray where the black washerwoman, she has her one breast stuck in the wringer and so she's hollering. My God, that's also sexist. I think the Jim Crow would love
This is the Jim Crow. This is on multiple levels. This is a wonderful piece.
Once we finally discovered the Jim Crow Museum, it gave us more impetus to go out and find, collect, save.
They now have at least 500 things from us. By collecting those things, we get a broader picture of how racism continued all the way up into the 60s and 70s and still continues. I've seen things about President Obama that were horrible.
I think people who go to the Jim Crow Museum are often surprised when they see something from 2015 as racist as many of the things from 100 years ago. And we've had friends who are a complete mess after they've left because suddenly they've been confronted with the truth.
For many years when I traveled, I would say that the United States, despite this history of enslavement and Jim Crow, that we are today more democratic and more egalitarian than we've ever been. And I stopped saying that about 2 years ago. I'm not suggesting that we are back in the Jim Crow period. Don't get it twisted. It's not like that. But what I am saying hear and see a level of racist rhetoric that is reminiscent of when I was growing up in Alabama under Governor George Wallace. People say they don't want to talk about race, but they're doing it all the time. But they're not talking about it in places where their ideas can be challenged.
See why you should stop using the N-word? Hold on. That won't convince you? Watch this.
As founder of the American Birth Control League, which later became Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger was no doubt a controversial figure with disturbing views on eugenics, race, and population control. While some argue she even wanted to exterminate the black race, others are trying to erase that part of her past.
The Mike Wallace interview. In the eyes of some, Margaret Sanger has been a heroine. In the eyes of others, she's been a destructive force.
In her own words, Sanger pushed for a society that limited births to those she deemed fit to have children.
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents.
This is Hillary Clinton. She looked up to her. Ruth Ginsburg looked up to her.
In 1916, Sanger opened the country's first birth control clinic. As a member of the American Eugenics Society, she advocated improving the genetic composition of humans through controlled reproduction of different races and classes. She often wrote about the issue in the journal she founded, called the Birth Control Review. In 1919, writing,
I personally believe in the sterilization of the feeble-minded, the insane, and the syphilitic. The most urgent problem today is how to limit and discourage the over-fertility of the mentally and physically defective.
Many point to a 1923 New York Times interview as proof of Sanger's racist motives, in which she referred to people as we's, saying,
It means the release and cultivation of the better racial elements in our society, and the gradual suppression, elimination, and eventual extirpation of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization.
Hayden Ludwig, an investigative researcher, has extensively studied Sanger's life and writings.
She talked about the need for race betterment through controlling these weeds, basically undesirable people.
In 1939, after opening another clinic in Harlem, the birth control activist launched the Negro Project, an initiative supported by black leaders, such as civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois. Critics claim the program used the pretense of better health and family planning for poor blacks in the South as an attempt to limit the black race. Ludwig says some on the left grapple with Sanger's past and how to interpret her legacy.
They know when she writes about human weeds, they know that it's repulsive. They know it's disgusting. The left will never abandon Margaret Sanger, because if they do, she's the foundation of so many of their views.
Sanger once shared her vision for a preferred race at a women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan, writing in her autobiography,
Always, to me, any aroused group was a good group.
Despite those views, liberals praised Sanger's work while ignoring her history.
I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tenacity, her vision. I am really in awe of her.
Black folks smell.
Brian Baumberger, founder of the Radiance Foundation, says abortion proponents are working to clean up Sanger's past and what she stood for.
They have to reinvent her every time they talk about her in order to justify their celebration of her.
Former Planned Parenthood Director Abby Johnson says those inside the abortion industry are trained to overlook Sanger's racist views.
They give you an answer like, well, I mean, yes, Margaret Sanger was a racist, but everybody was a racist back then. You accept it because she is your hero. And she has to be your hero. You cannot question Planned Parenthood.
1997, Stephen Mosher of the Population Research Institute wrote about the push to repackage Margaret Sanger in the Wall Street Journal.
The reason I call it the repackaging of Margaret Sanger is because after the Nazi regime destroyed the legitimacy of eugenics forever, they then went back and said, oh, she was just an early feminist, she was just an early supporter of family planning. No, she wasn't. No, she was a supporter of giving IQ tests to people. She was in favor of using those IQ tests to determine who should be sterilized and who should have children.
In a response titled The Demonization of Margaret Sanger, Alexander Sanger, her grandson and president of Planned Parenthood at the time, called Mosher's editorial unfair. In the same piece, Esther Katz, director of NYU's Margaret Sanger Papers Project, claimed evidence revealing Sanger did not rationalize her support for birth control on racist grounds, that she never advocated genocidal policies aimed at racial, ethnic, or religious groups, and that she, in fact, believed access to birth control would benefit, not eliminate minority populations. Dr. Katz turned down our request for an interview, although in this article, the
but she showed up at a black church.
Margaret Sanger, she wrote, by our current highly sensitized standards, some of her attitudes
took pictures with the Ku Klux Klan.
Construed as racist, elitist, ethnocentric, and not politically correct. In 1942, Margaret Sanger's American Birth Control League became Planned Parenthood, which has moved to fulfill its founders' goals, helped greatly by the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade.
Under the veil of secrecy and deception, 60+ million babies have not been born because they were aborted legally since '73. 1/3 of that population belong to the African American community.
A frightening and telling number, given blacks make up only 13% of the U.S. population. Dan Gaynor of the Media Research Center says that Sanger's true mission remains alive and well throughout today's abortion industry.
Look at the maps. See where the abortion facilities are. They are near places where people are marginalized, people are poor, people are minority, and that's their target market.
Generation after generation, we have built a better world for our daughters.
Because of allies in the media and academia, Gaynor also points out how speech from conservatives and others about Sanger's past, Planned Parenthood practices, and abortion is often classified as hate speech.
There's nothing as close to a sacrament in the media as abortion. It is a holy writ that abortion is protected. And anybody who comes out against it, any organization, any business, anybody, the media swarm.
So does social media.
Facebook's new oversight board, this is really concerning, has 4 co-chairs. They're going to be the appeals board for content. Well, one of the 4 oversight board is on the board of an pro-abortion group. There's no pro-lifers. They're not there.
The problem also exists on many college campuses.
I remember at Harvard, they laughed when I was talking about the history of eugenics. And they said, that doesn't matter. Planned Parenthood is not like it was during Margaret Sanger's days.
Those who oppose her views say not true and are committed to exposing her past for future generations. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Well, keep in mind this is a serious matter. You're trying to revise history to suit a political agenda and suit a political argument. The source of that story, curiously, is a group called NewsGuard, and what they're self-appointed watchdogs of news organizations, and obviously coming from the left. CBN News had published a series of articles on Alveda King and had quoted her accurately, saying that Margaret Sanger thought that black people were human weeds. Well, he came at us for that, saying you can't quote her accurately. You always have to put a disclaimer that there's no evidence that Margaret Sanger ever used the term human weeds. And he, in turn, quoted Esther Katz, who said that she had reviewed all of Margaret Sanger's papers and couldn't find any evidence that she ever used the term human weeds. Well, Well, she knows full well about that New York Times article, and what she was saying is, well, within her papers it's not there, but within the public record it is there. And so there's a conscious effort to rewrite history and declare her as some kind of hero that we should all look up to, and ignore the root of Planned Parenthood, which is quite clearly eugenics. Now, you go back to the title of that New York Times article, and it says, "Creating a Race of Thoroughbreds." So it's selective breeding. That's what this is all about. And within that selective breeding, you have to breed out what you think is undesirable. Well, in today's world, that is morally reprehensible. And you can't change that history, and you shouldn't even try to change that history. I don't understand this, but here at CBN News, we want to set the record straight. Here's what Margaret Sanger really believed.
It's interesting because it is very much like...
I'm going to leave it right there. So, it is what it is. But, some people probably... Some will give you four... Let's go back to an interview back in 19...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my humble duty tonight to introduce you to the Grand and Imperial Wizard of the Invisible Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, Mr. Bill. Oh, Imperial Wizard, can you tell me and us, 100 years after your predecessors set the South aflame with the cross-burning lynchings and other events, you should be bothering this country still?
To begin with, I believe a slight rebuttal is in order for your opening statements, or the opening statements that was made by the Klan. We are not anti-Catholic. We are not anti-Semitic. We believe white race. We believe that at this point in time, white Americans are being treated as second-class citizens, that the federal laws, the civil rights laws, have created a dual system of justice in this country. A set of federal laws that protects the interest of minorities, and local and state laws.
But Grand and Imperial Wizard,
if
I may interrupt, if I might be so bold as to interrupt the Imperial Wizard, it says on a sheet that you people hand out to the young and the youths of our high school, it says, if you want to join the Klan, quote, "I swear that I am of white, non-Jewish heritage. Are you fed up with special privileges given to blacks?" That's a quotation from your own literature.
Absolutely. We are a Christian.
What do you mean you're not anti-Semitic?
We are a Christian organization. We also don't allow Buddhists, Muslims, or atheists.
He says a Christian organization. Someone told me, oh, bullcrap. Heard it from the Klan himself.
You were anti-Catholic.
The Klan has had different views from time to time on lesser issues. The one issue we've never changed on is that of segregation. We believe that God has commanded us to separate ourselves from other races. In fact, that's not a unique stand. Billy Graham, just a few years ago, himself segregated his crusade audiences and preached segregation. The Southern Baptist and the National Baptist, one was black, one was white, they practiced and preached segregation. So we didn't invent segregation, we just still believe in it.
Let me ask you about something you did correct it, let me say, before the show started, something I was unaware of. But there are a number of Klan organizations, I gather it was not yours, march in tandem, arm in arm with members of the American Nazi Party. Now, the Nazis were responsible for the murder not simply of Jews in Germany, but American pilots, American soldiers. They are guilty of all manner of horrid atrocities. They have on their, I guess, on their records, some 250,000 American dead. Now, why would any patriotic American, one who calls himself a patriotic American, be anywhere near the swastika, the insignia of Hitler's Germany?
Well, as you conceded before the show, I did clear up that point. The Klan, the Invisible Empire, which I head, detests Nazis as much as we do communists. But I'd like to make one thing clear, that there's too much hype today about the Germans and the Nazis. Let's not forget that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and they led to death marches in Bataan. I don't believe that we should condemn all of the Germans for something that happened in Germany 40 years ago. And I do condemn what Hitler did to to any.
Why would any patriot, someone who calls himself a patriot, and a Klan's, I guess you're associated with members of not the leadership, why would they march on this swastika?
We don't.
You don't. What are your
others? I believe, to make it clear first, we're the only national Klan organization left. There have been those that have come and gone. It's sort of like the political parties, the Democrats, Republicans, American Independents. They come and they go. They splinter and they regroup and rejoin. Right now, we are the major unquestioned Klan organization in America. There's some people that we have expelled from our organization that will start other branches, and their anxiety to get membership and support, they will come with anyone, including Nazis.
This is not your organization. I believe a quote by you. I read in the local Klan today. You announced the quote, I think it was Jew-controlled media. Did you use that term?
I may have used that term.
Correct quote.
I may have used that term some years ago, but as well, I don't mean by that anything at this point in time. I believe that a lot of Jews are prominent in the media, but I believe a lot of Baptists, a lot of Methodists, and a lot of other people are.
Why would you use the term Jew-controlled media?
Well,
you don't run around saying the Baptist-controlled media is keeping us on.
I no longer use that term. It's been a number of years ago that I would have made that comment, and I'm not apologizing for what I might have said at that time.
Let's talk about blacks.
Why?
Wait a minute, I want to go. My brother came back from Vietnam. He told me, and of the bodies he took out as a medical officer, he said 50% of those guys were black kids who served the United States in Vietnam. This was it was a crack frontline unit. And these were American blacks who died in higher numbers for their country in Southeast Asia in that war than did white Americans, as a matter of fact, in the Vietnam War. How can you be against a race which contains people who are out there fighting for their country just as much as a white Christian Protestant?
That's something else that needs to be cleared up, Pat. We're not against the black race. We believe in free enterprise for this country. We believe that everyone should have the same rights.
Well,
right
Mr.
now,
Wizard, it says right here. Wait a minute,
right now.
Let me interrupt you for a minute, Mr. Wizard. It says right here, you believe in the final solution, which is black repatriation to Africa.
Abraham Lincoln, but now look, I'm not going to be cut off.
No, but I'm not going to be shut off either. You're running around on a bed sheet. I don't have the bed sheet. But I just want to tell you, I want to ask you this question. Can you imagine this country repatriating all the black Americans that Pat just spoke about in Africa? No. I mean, what kind of nonsense?
No, I can't.
Well, what are you saying it for?
I'm not saying it.
Well, it says right here.
No, that's your paper. That's not my paper.
That's your paper. I took the quote and wrote it on the...
That's not my paper. Now, to get back to it. Now, just a minute. I answered your question. Now, I want to finish what I was saying. We feel that affirmative action is discriminating against white people. And there is no question about it. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because black people were hurt and discriminated against in the past does not justify the discrimination against white people now. And we're asking for an end to that.
I'm against racial quotas. I'm against affirmative action as it's practiced. But you said, when I introduced you, I didn't say that your organization was. I said historically to most Americans, anti-Catholic and anti-Semitic and racist towards anti-black. You said, we're not anti-Catholic.
Right.
We're not anti-Semitic. You deny the racist thing.
Well, it depends on your definition of racist. I'm a segregationist, okay? I believe that God has commanded me not to mix with other races. For that reason, I want to have schools where I can send my children to a white school. I want to be able to go to white neighborhoods, to white businesses, those things. So if that terms me as a racist, then I'm a racist.
But you can't have tax exemptions in your all-white school. Well, public school, now black kids whose parents' taxes pay for that school, they got a right to go to that neighborhood school. If you want an all-white school, all-white academy, you can do that right now. You just don't get a tax exemption. So what's your complaint?
You say you can do that. Now maybe I can, maybe you can. But what about the poor people that don't have the money to send their children to private school? They can. They're being deprived the right to practice their religion because they don't have the money to send them to a private school. There's no reason why in this great land of ours we couldn't have a three-tiered school system. A black school, a white school, and an integrated school. Give everyone a choice. We would have much less dissension, we would have much less racial problems in school. And if those people that are seeking to integrate the races in this country really were seeking to do the best for both races, they would adopt this system and let integration proceed gradually.
What do you think our founding fathers meant when they said we the people of the United States?
Well, I won't get into that debate, but
I know, but you're sitting here in your bed sheet telling us all that the only thing you're for, you're against.
You're really upset about my bed.
Oh yeah, I think you're American?
I believe in God. Is that wrong?
Do you deny that you said this? This is the literature you're handing out to school children in America? I just quoted this from your own pen. But are you fed up with blacks following you along, trying to lift you up? Do you deny that you said that?
No, I don't. And let me tell you, that happens more times in America than what you can say.
Blacks? Blacks follow you home and lift you up.
We've had more racial problems.
Damn disgrace to the country. Oh, yes, you are.
I have a strong belief.
You know what? You people were beaten. I don't know what we're doing in 1982 talking to you.
Well, that's your problem, Tom. But let me tell you one thing. I'm not beaten. The Klan is not beaten. And the white race is not beaten. No more than the Democrats is beating or the Republicans is beating. They're all fighting for the things that they believe in. And we believe in something.
All right, what do you believe
earnestly through the law.
Now, you tell me what you want to get. What do you believe in?
What we believe
What are you
in.
for?
We believe in God. We believe in the United States of America. And we believe that God has commanded us to separate ourselves from other races. Not because we hate the other races or because we feel that we're better or worse, but because we feel it's God's commandment. And if you criticize that in our religion, then you're criticizing the Christianity for the last 2,000 years.
What's the issue? Listen.
Wow. So I want to make a series of videos behind this because I want young people to see that this is something that really why you stop calling yourself the N-word. Like the earlier video is, and from verse to second. And the reality of how some people view you, how the reality view black people, what they genetically try to do, from one end of the extreme to the other end of the extreme. You heard it from the voice's mouth. You heard it from some men arguing about crime statistics. So when I showed you the music part of that music video without the music, that's what they're trying to base it on. So they try to use Klan tactics, like the Klan, and saying that this is the reason why we want to separate, because that's what they see. So when you call each other the N-word and everything, you saying the N-word, what they normally say behind. They don't say blacks, but they in their own terms. The N-word. So that's what they're saying. And there's a lot of people like that throughout this country, throughout every town, city, state, and abroad, certain places abroad, from America to Canada, got that same mindset to this day. It didn't go away in 1982. It still existed, like the one video saying. So I hope that you take this video, and it, again, young people, that's why you shouldn't call each other the N-word, because the reality of when you call, and that's why I got mad at that woman that was saying something about selective aborting babies, because Marcus Sang, on one video I said that Marcus Sangers said the same thing. This woman was on that one podcaster, Cynthia G. They're picking up Margaret Sanger points. That's why I said that. Then you see how the way the Jim Crow Museum, because that's how some people still feel like about black people to this day. So I just wanted to make this video and open up some eyes. So sorry to offend anybody. I'm sorry if it offended, but sometimes you gotta show reality to wake people up. That was my whole purpose of showing this video. Alright then, until next time, take care.